In this video, we're going to talk about why you should be very careful when renting a co-op apartment in New York City. I'm Nick at Hauseit. Visit our website, hauseit.com, to learn how to save money if you're looking to buy, sell, or rent here in New York City, Long Island, the Hudson Valley, or South Florida. So let's get started. So in this video, we're going to tell you why you should be very careful when renting a co-op apartment here in New York City. But before we go into the various risks associated with renting a co-op, we want to be very upfront and clarify one thing. By and large, co-ops are well-run buildings in New York City. There's generally no issue you should anticipate or expect when renting a co-op. Of course, you hear horror stories, and there are real risks, as we'll explain, but we would never categorically exclude co-ops as an option if you are looking to rent in New York City, because there are always quite a few of them on the market, and if you exclude them from your search completely, you will probably be worse off. So anyhow, now let's get into the weeds. So one of the reasons why you should be very careful when renting a co-op apartment in New York City is because of the uncertainty in terms of the timeline when it comes to the co-op board approval process. Now, generally speaking, most co-ops respond to rental applications within 4 weeks. That's already a long time compared to a rental building where you would submit an application and hear back, sometimes in a matter of days or potentially same day. So already you're at a disadvantage with a co-op. But the problem with a co-op is that there's no ceiling in terms of when they have to respond or how long they could take to review and respond to your application. Most co-ops will say 30 days. And of course, responsible co-ops typically can go faster than that. You should never assume that. But the risk is that you essentially get in bed with a co-op that is unorganized, incompetent, has a vendetta with the landlord, the person whose apartment you're trying to rent. And as a result, they exceed the 30-day estimate for reviewing and responding to your application. This type of uncertainty is, quite frankly, unacceptable when you're looking for an apartment to move into, because you probably have a very specific timeline that you need to meet, having moved out of your other apartment or having to move into the city, say for a job, within a certain period of time. So just to summarize, one of the main risks with renting a co-op is that the board could take forever to review and approve your application. And that could wreak havoc in terms of your plans for moving into a new apartment. Another reason to be careful when renting a co-op apartment in New York City is because of the fact that the application itself can be very extensive, and it could potentially take a large amount of time on your part to go through the motions and complete and submit it. Now, we like to say, even when you're buying a co-op in New York City, the board application process is not that difficult. It's like a middle school book report. If you pass middle school with a GPA above 3.0, you can do a co-op board package. But we're not in middle school. We have commitments, we have jobs, we have families, and it's a real time sink to do the application. And the reality is that the rental application for a co-op is substantially similar to the one that is put forth if you're actually looking to buy the co-op apartment. So as a result, before you basically just go into renting a co-op apartment, take a look at the application and just make sure that you have the capacity to put that together within a reasonable period of time. Now, we do want to make sure we remind you of one thing. New York City and the rental market, when it comes to both condos and co-ops, is paperwork heavy. And what we mean by that is your typical condo building these days in New York City will also generally have a pretty annoying and pretty extensive application, which requires you to submit a whole bunch of documents. So although we're saying in this video, be a bit careful if you're thinking about renting a co-op, the reality is that this particular point that we're making right now theoretically applies to condos as well. So if you don't want to deal with any red tape, any BS, any delays whatsoever, and you just want a place to rent, you really need to consider rental buildings. In other words, a building that is owned by one individual or one entity, because there is no corresponding bylaw, board approval type of process that you have to deal with. So we hope you found this video to be helpful. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below or send an email to team@hauseit.com. If you are looking to buy, sell, or rent here in New York City, we have several ways to help you save money. Visit hauseit.com to learn more. I'm Nick at Hauseit, and we'll see you on the next video.